Well, welcome everybody. I want to welcome you to September's Tech Tuesday. The top vote getter for this month was math resources and websites that might be able to help you in your classroom instruction as well as help your students learn. We've been at it and trying to find the best resources for you for quite a while. We hope you enjoy today's session. We'll have a chance to play around with some of the websites and resources that we have assembled for you a little later after the session. The best way to get to the resources today is to join our Edmodo Tech Tuesday group. Just log on to Edmodo if you already have a Edmodo ID. Join our group and be willing or be able to access all the things we'll talk about today. More importantly, we can share those ideas with others and make comments and share what we're learning as we go. If you don't have an Edmodo ID already as a teacher, you can join as a student using this group code as well. Just go to Edmodo and punch in this group code, create your ID, and sign up from there, and you'll be able to access our group here. Before we get going on the mechanics of the resources that we'll share and some of the things that they have, one of the things I look at when I look for math resources is do I understand it fairly quickly, and do I need to spend a lot of time? Is there a high learning curve to that resource? And is it easy to explain to students? And if I find either one of those takes me a long time, I'll typically click on to the next thing and won't explore it too much further. Because if I don't understand it quickly and I can't explain it to the kids in 10 to 15 minutes, then it's going to probably create more time for me and more problems than I'm really willing to take on. So with those two qualifications satisfied with these websites, the third thing I look at is whether it will save me time. If it doesn't save me time and adds to my workday, none of us need that, especially me, and I'll move on to the next resources. So these resources, most of them are teacher shared on Twitter and some other central places where I communicate with teachers from around the country and the world. These are teacher tested and they support what we do in the classroom and help our students learn. In most cases, when you're trying to find a tool to use for math instruction, somebody has already invented what you need, and they've probably done a better job at it. Either if it's a professional organization or somebody that just really has a talent in that area. And digital resources, online tools, really allow us to differentiate both ways. You can extend the activities or the skill for the kids who get it, and you can slow it down or go a little bit more hands-on and in-depth for those that don't. And there's lots of practice activities for those that need that extra support as well. The nice thing about online resources, especially for math, is parents, as you know, are more involved. I guess they're more in tune to homework or math activities that would come home, and it provides a good link. The teacher or the parents can see what their kids are working on and help them work through that skill at home. So the first one we'll talk about is sent separately to you in our doc. There's a lot of math tools available online, from hands-on virtual interactive activities that you can use for your students, graphing calculators, other calculators. This is an algebraic calculator that can do a lot of neat things. And those tools, if you find a need for them, can help your students tackle whatever you're throwing at them. But those are sent separately, and I won't talk too much about those today other than letting you know that the links and resources are online for you. First one we're going to talk about is extramath.org. It's a website that is designed to have the kids practice their basic math facts: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. This site couldn't be more easier to set up your class. It's really a streamlined process. Probably the easiest one that I've used to set up a class. It just cut and paste. If you have a document with the kids' first names on them, just cut and paste that, and bam, it will create the pins for you and their IDs right from that pasting motion. The site allows the teacher to monitor progress, to see what the kids are having troubles on, and it does a lot of other neat things. One of the things it will do is create letters for you to send home with your name on it and the student's name on it already inserted into that document. But the kids can really get on here and practice and get better, more fluent in their math facts, which is a big plus. iExcel is a math site for pre-K all the way through geometry, I believe. So in our district, 9th or 10th grade. And it has a lot of activities, not only for kids, but it also allows, or has some lessons and some resources for teachers. It's a pretty easy to navigate site. I'll show you here, the interface is really clean and colorful, and it really grabs the kids' attention. Lots of activities within each grade level that you can go to and get your kids started. If we click on, say, kindergarten math, all of the various standards are covered, and they also show you where those skills are tied into various state standards. So you know that you're not just playing games, that you're actually addressing the skill, which I'm a firm believer in, and making the practice meaningful both at home and the school. Ict Magic is a resource that I shared in January's Tech Tuesday. It was one of the best of websites for 2011. Ict Magic is a wiki, and it has a ton of resources. There's 3 separate sections for math, and it just has tons of resources and activities for teachers and students. I'll share one with you. If we go to the Math Link 1, if we were to click addition and subtraction, bring up an activity such as this. You can choose which activity you want to do. These are timed activities for math, and so if we were to click on that, it would bring up this activity. Students click, get going, and then they have to gives them instant feedback. So they can really try and improve their fluency and their speed through this. And it'll give them feedback as they go, so they can get better and better. But there's a lot of different resources on here. Certainly worth checking out to see if there's an activity that will support your lesson or standard for that week. Interactivate is a great site for a number of reasons. It's not as sexy as some of the other ones in that it's not as graphically appealing as some of the other resources we'll share today, but it does have activities and some other interesting features that I didn't find on other sites for your students. In addition to some nice things for teachers. Lessons, I'll share what their discussion feature is for you, and it shows how those things are tied to your standards. The lessons are tied to standards. It will show you the grade level. It will show you the topic and other related skills within that lesson, so you can make sure that you're finding the right skill or finding the right activity for what you're trying to teach the kids. If we go to the other part for learners, they have a dictionary spot, and with the increasing emphasis being placed on math vocabulary both in Park and Common Core assessments. This is really an invaluable resource that the kids could contribute to their, or use to contribute to their math notebooks, and use it when they're writing about math. They have a lot of activities. This is just one of the ones that addresses fractions. The nice thing about this too is a neat feature is class discussions, and so in this discussion we're having the teacher and the student talk about comparing fractions, and it provides a script for both the mentor and the student. And so you can walk through, you could do this as a math theater, a reader's theater if you will. You could do this for small group instruction as a read aloud for those that aren't getting it. But the discussion part of Interactivate is really a nice feature that they have, and they have that for a number of different topics. An example of estimation activity, the kids would go through this and try and solve the problem, estimating and how do those estimates compare in this particular activity. The Math Forum at Drexel is a great resource for students and teachers as well. There's a ton of stuff on this website, resources, lessons. There's some nice sections on there for educators to share what they know, to go to a forum where you can ask questions if you need input or ideas on how to teach a specific topic that you might be not getting the kids with. The teacher section on here, teacher forum, is a really good place to go to get ideas from other teachers. Cybrary Man is a former teacher. I believe he's retired, but in his retirement what he's done is he's put together about 20,000 different links to various subjects to help teachers, students, and parents. This particular part of his website is for math word problems, and there's some great resources in here that you can use for mini lessons, extended problem solving, and ways to work through and get those things in front of kids to give them the more practice. The word problems may be old speak, but it still is a valuable resource. Not as compelling as some of the other websites, but no less valuable. Lots of resources for the teacher to get in front of their students. I'll share this with you, and then we'll talk about where this came from. Dan Meyer's 3-act math task are fantastic resources for introducing concepts to students in a different way. This one is called Super Bear for obvious reasons, but it will introduce the problem or the task to the students through compelling lesson starters, and it provides, if we go to his site, it provides questions down here to get the conversation going and jump the kids right into the lesson for that day. This one has to do with trying to figure out how many mini bears would match the weight of the super bear, and the kids go from there and try and develop problem solving, following the problem solving process, trying to determine the answer for that. He has them for volume, for ratios and mixtures. There's just a ton of things available from him. That Word document with all of the links to the lesson is included in our Edmodo site, but certainly worth checking out Then you go into Act 2. This is the Act 2 Super Bear, where we start to nail down what information we need to solve this problem. And the kids can do this, use the video that he's created to work towards a problem. Great for collaborative efforts, great for getting the kids excited about the different math concepts we're teaching. Area. Here's a fun I'm not sure when he sleeps, but I'm sure glad that he doesn't, because he's done a lot of great things. His blog is certainly worth checking out as too. One of the ones that I frequently read and pay attention to, because he just loves math and presenting math concepts in interesting ways. Khan Academy. I was asked to talk about the Khan Academy. I've used it for the past couple years, and it is both a resource just for not only students but for teachers and parents, and I'll talk a little bit about. It was really started by Sal Khan. He was a hedge fund manager who began to make videos for his cousins and nephews because they were having trouble with their math, and so he would record these math videos for his nieces and nephews, posted them on YouTube to help them out. What he quickly found was that there was some interest in this. There was other people watching his videos, watching his instruction, and he was getting comments that, hey, this is great help, really enjoyed what you were doing, and so he continued making it, and he started a nonprofit called the Khan Academy.